probably the next big criminal trial in America. After telling the public their bank account was getting low, George Zimmerman's defense team got more than $32,000 in donations in less than 2 days. They asked for a total of $120,000 to pay for experts and deposition transcripts. Zimmerman's lawyers say many people wrote notes along with their donations, some saying they aren't sure if he's guilty or not, but they want him to have a fair trial. Zimmerman's trial for killing the teenager Trayvon Martin is scheduled to start next month with jury selection. Joining us this morning, legal analyst Cezanne Oygar and former criminal defense attorney Anna Yum. They are here to give us some insight into the latest developments in the Trayvon Martin case. Welcome to Good Morning San Diego to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Okay, Mr. Zimmerman's attorneys waived the pretrial stand your ground hearing, which in Florida means if you think you're threatened, you have the right to defend yourself. Why that tactical move?
I think it was a strategic move on Zimmerman's part.
I do too.
He's really believing in his case, and he's come out and had many interviews where his story's been pretty consistent. So he wants to take this to the ultimate fact finder, the jury, the people.
Yeah.
He hasn't completely waived his right to the stand your ground trial. He'll be able to come in possibly later during the pendency of the trial and potentially after the trial and have this, which might grant him some immunity.
And I think it's a very smart tactic, too, because if you think about it, in order to be able to preserve that stand your ground, he would have to testify. And I think that as a tactical move, the defense attorney, Mark O'Mara, is saying, you know what, I don't know if I want the prosecutor to have this many chances at cross-examining him.
Right.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see if the prosecution can meet their case. And later on, we can certainly bring it up.
Do you think he'll testify?
Absolutely.
I do, so absolutely, John, because it's a self-defense
case. Is that
case.
a good idea?
Yeah,
he has no other choice. Yeah, I definitely think he has to, because he's saying the whole time around this is self-defense. And if you think about it, that's why they're talking about some of the acts that the victim, meaning Trayvon Martin, had in the past, right? We heard about the pretrial rulings about him not being able to introduce photographs of Trayvon Martin smoking marijuana, or the gun, him holding the gun in his text message, or any kind of text messages involving street fighting, because he's going to say Trayvon was the violent one. He was the aggressor, not me.
So if he were your client, you'd say, get on the stand.
Get on the stand, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a really fact-intensive defense, the self-defense, affirmative defense. So he's going to have to get up there. He's the only one. He's the only eyes that are remaining. While there's some other ears, people who heard what was going on, it's really going to come down to what Mr. Zimmerman says, and was he the initial aggressor, which he's saying that he was not, and that it was Trayvon.
And if you think about it, Mr. Zimmerman has already gone on record, spoken to the media, and there's actually a videotape of him going through his rendition of events as to how everything happened.
Does the intense debate nationally played out in the media help him or hurt him when he goes to trial?
I actually think it's going to help him in this case because he's been pretty consistent. The only possible problem with this is if he's going to have any discrepancies on trial, because you can guarantee that the state attorney, they're waiting to find him to have some little fact that he didn't say in his interview and now he's going to say on the stand and to try to diminish his credibility. But I don't think it's going to hurt him in this case.
Well, I also think that it's going to serve as an advantage, especially if you think about all the photographs and everything that was released this past week. It's different as to what's admissible in a court of law, and then of course in the matter of public opinion. Because now the American public can see, well, maybe Trayvon Martin wasn't as angelic or wasn't this non-violent person.
The judge has precluded that evidence, so how badly does that hurt the defense?
Well, she hasn't necessarily precluded it yet. She said you cannot bring it during opening statements, but they can reserve their right to bring it up and to revisit the issue, depending on how relevant it becomes. And that really depends upon how the prosecution plays their case.
Well, how the kid was perceived in the community doesn't really change what happened on the night of his death, does it?
Well, what it comes into play is there's a case in Florida called Munoz where generally evidence of a victim's character cannot come in, but under this Munoz case, if you are asserting the self-defense, affirmative defense, you can actually bring in character evidence of the victim to show propensity for violence. So this is where this is going to come in Florida. Really, it's going to depend if what the prosecution is saying was Zimmerman the initial aggressor, and are they going to paint Trayvon as this non-violent angel? That's what's going to make it relevant.
We should expect the defense to attack the victim in this case.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think what's really going to happen is that the prosecution is going to say that George Zimmerman was the aggressor. And of course, Mark O'Mara and his defense team are going to put up that defense and say, no, actually, he was not the aggressor. It was Trayvon Martin who was the aggressor.
And the debate over racial profiling in this country is only going to heat up when this trial begins.
It's going to garner even more extensive media coverage, I believe.
All right. Cezanne Oygar, Anna Yum, Thank you very much. Wish we had about 10 more minutes to analyze this one. Can you come back and continue this analysis?
Absolutely. Would love
All
to.
right. We'll look forward to that. Thanks very much. All right.